Charlie doesn't like working there.
Well, that's up to him. Look, what do you mean he don't like working there?
Before streaming platforms ruled the world of entertainment, British telly in the 80s brought people together. It was a time when sitcoms, game shows and horror dramas took over the living room. These shows were massive, yet somehow they quietly disappeared into the shadows of TV history. Today, we're bringing them back into the spotlight. Let's rewind the VHS and rediscover 7 forgotten British TV shows from the 80s that were huge and deserve a comeback. Let's kick off with The Gaffer, an ITV sitcom starring Bill Maynard as Fred Moffat. It follows Fred, the owner of a rundown engineering firm, Moffat Engineering Company, with strong opinions, a short fuse, and a talent for getting in his own way. He's the kind of boss who thinks he's a genius but spends most of his time digging holes he can't get out of. The opening music of the show, composed by Ken Jones, set the tone perfectly, quirky, upbeat, and chaotic enough to match Fred's daily grind. Aired from 1981 to 1983, it was a brilliant mix of working-class grit, political digs, and pure British wit. It was about real people facing real problems and finding humour in the everyday struggle. The series ran for 3 seasons with a total of 20 episodes, and it was a ratings hit on ITV. If you want to watch a show that captures 80s Britain with its economic struggles and class tensions, The Gaffer does it better than most sitcoms of its time. Despite its popularity, it has been largely absent from reruns and is not available on major streaming platforms. From the everyday struggles of the industry, we now shift to a world of intergalactic puzzles, strange clues, and the unsettling idea of being evaporated. Next up on our list is The Adventure Game. Broadcast between 1980 and 1986 on the BBC, this game show featured celebrities along with a member of the public who were transported onto the fictional planet Arg. Yes, Arg. Their mission? Solve puzzles and avoid being evaporated in the dreaded vortex. The show fully leaned into sci-fi nonsense. The hosts were aliens called Argonts, along with a dragon called Rongad, who only spoke backwards. Why? Because 80s. Each episode was part quiz, part escape room, and part absurd comedy. Viewers loved the weirdness, and weirdly, its low budget added to its charm with DIY props and dodgy sound effects. Fun fact: believe it or not, it was originally intended to be an educational show about problem solving. Although the concept evolved into something more entertaining, the puzzles remained surprisingly tough. It blended the playful vibe of a kids' show with the surreal humour of Monty Python. Even with a bunch of die-hard fans, The Adventure Game hasn't had the rerun love it deserves. Dick Spanner. P.I., a stop-motion animated detective spoof created by none other than Jerry Anderson, follows the robotic private eye Dick Spanner as he solves mysteries in a surreal, noir-inspired future city called Los Angeles. The series originally aired in 5-minute episodes on ITV in 1986 and 1987, making it a bite-sized burst of madness and chaos. The cases were absolutely absurd, from muffins going missing to exploding typewriters. The animation was packed with sight gags, word plays, and physical comedy. And the best part? It was self-aware. Dick often broke the fourth wall, commenting on his own bad luck, plot holes, and even the show's limited budget, with deadpan delivery that somehow made everything funnier. It was initially aired as a segment on ITV's Sunday morning show, Network 7, targeted towards kids. However, due to its cult appeal, it was later repeated on the same channel in a late-night slot, where it found a second life with older viewers who appreciated dry wit and puns. It may have disappeared from our screens, but in its time, Dick Spanner, P.I. was quietly popular. Today, it's one of those brilliant oddballs that deserves to be remembered. Let's turn down the lights and cue the thunderclap because things are about to get spooky. When it comes to British horror, one name stands above all: Hammer Films, famous for their Dracula and Frankenstein movies. In the 80s, they made the leap to TV with a 13-episode series called Hammer House of Horror, which brought gothic chills into British living rooms. Each episode was a standalone story with a terrifying tale of the supernatural, featuring everything from cursed objects to creepy children, possessed cats, and that one neighbour that definitely isn't human. The scares were chilling, the tone eerie, and the writing so unpredictable and suspenseful that it made every episode gripping. And if you were expecting a happy ending, well, tough luck. Most episodes ended on a dark or shocking note that made you go, "Wait, what?" It aired on ITV and had a star-studded cast including Diana Dawes, Brian Cox, Peter Cushing, and even a young Pierce Brosnan. Although it lasted only one season, Hammer House of Horror became a fan favourite not just in the UK, but across Europe and the US too. Over time, it vanished from mainstream memory. But for horror fans in the 80s, this was must-see TV. Before there was Made in Chelsea or Succession, there was Howard's Way, the UK's version of Dynasty, only with luxury yachts, designer suits, and fewer slaps. Airing from 1985 to 1990, the series portrays the personal and professional lives of the rich business community in the fictional town of Tarrant on the south coast of England. It mainly followed the trials, affairs, and business rivalries of two families caught up in the glamorous world of the boating industry. At the heart of it was Tom Howard, a middle-aged man who quits his boring job to follow his dream of designing yachts. Naturally, everything around him unravels with marriages breaking down, secrets spilling out, and corporate battles raging at sea and on land. The theme music? Instantly iconic. The fashion? Pure power dressing. And the drama? Always just one champagne-fueled argument away from disaster. At its peak, the show pulled in over 10 million viewers, making it one of the biggest hits of late 80s British TV. The show ran till 1990, but came to a sudden stop after the tragic and unexpected death of the lead actor, Maurice Colborne. Without him, the sales fell still. The BBC chose not to continue, and the series quietly slipped out of the spotlight. But for 5 years, it was something special. A bold and stylish drama that brought glamour to British TV. And thanks to Colborne's performance, it was truly iconic. And while Howard's Way gave us business feuds and luxury yachts, our next show traded all that glamour for trench coats, crime scenes, paired with cocktails and vintage cars, set in the sun-soaked island of Jersey. Bergerac followed the investigations of Jim Bergerac, played by the legendary John Nettles, a tough but troubled detective working for the fictional Bureau des Étrangers, a special branch of the Jersey police. Jim wasn't your clean-cut cop, he was a recovering alcoholic, dealing with divorce, with a habit of turning every casual investigation into a full-blown international conspiracy. And let's talk style. Bergerac drove a 1947 Triumph Roadster, solved crimes in smart jackets, and always seemed to have at least one woman falling in love with him in every episode. It was basically Bond, if Bond had a bad back and handled parking disputes. Airing from 1981 to 1991, this long-running drama blended mystery of the week plots with longer-running character arcs. It became a huge hit, running through 9 series, regularly drawing 10 million plus viewers and turning Jersey into a tourist hotspot. But despite its popularity, Bergerac doesn't often get mentioned in modern crime drama retrospectives. If you were a kid growing up in the 80s, you definitely knew who Metal Mickey was, and probably even tried to do the voice. Metal Mickey was a 5-foot-tall robot with laser eyes, flashing lights, and a thick robotic accent that was voiced and controlled by Johnny Edward. Catchphrases like "Boogie Boogie" and "Hello Mrs." echoed through school playgrounds nationwide. The premise of the show was simple yet entertaining. A young scientist builds a robot to help his mum with the housework. But things take a turn when Mickey suddenly comes to life after being fed a galactic fizz bomb by the kid next door. Airing on ITV from 1980 to 1983, the show was produced by none other than Mickey Dolenz of the Monkees, which explains the weird blend of music, slapstick, and offbeat charm. It was a massive hit, drawing in millions of viewers weekly, not just appealing to kids. Its witty dialogue and gentle humour was loved by adults too. And yet, today, Metal Mickey has vanished from the cultural radar. No reruns, no streaming, no reboot. Just a shiny, boogie-loving memory, quietly rusting away in 80s TV history. So, there you have it. The shows that once ruled the British telly made us laugh, gasp, and sometimes even ask, "What was that?" These shows might be forgotten by the mainstream maybe, but remain unforgettable to those who were there. They weren't just entertainment, they were a part of growing up. A time when TV didn't just fill the room, it brought everyone together. What's a show from this list that you remember most fondly? Comment down below or let us know if we missed one. More nostalgia is on the way. Be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one.